Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Eastar Tarot, and today we're going to be doing another collective reading to see what messages our ancestors, spirit guides, and guardian angels would like to deliver to us. And today I was thinking maybe it'd be good to see what good news our guides can tell us about, I guess just upcoming good news for us. Can't hurt, right? I'm glad to be back. I had to take a couple days off to, honestly, just to take some mental health days for myself. Sometimes we get, a little run down and we have to stop and take care of ourselves, right? So, oh, that was strange. So I think, it's important to do that once in a while when we need it. It's funny, we got the Lovers here. Yeah, I'm going to take that card. Lovers and Queen of Wands. Okay, yeah. Just the two cards I'm feeling from that little overspell there. It was strange. Very strange. Felt like someone squeezed my hand almost. So weird. But yeah. Got the Lovers, we got Mike and Elle. Very nice card. Very nice feeling there. Yeah. And the Queen of Wands, like really nice energy with the Queen of Wands, like feeling like you're being lit up, right? Maybe you're getting your light back, your spark back after feeling a little bit low. Good times are coming. It's not going to be much longer. But sometimes it can feel long, right? It's like that song. I wish I could remember the artist right now, but he's it's a Canadian artist. He talks about it's the ship going down in a storm, and he talks about how the trials can change the minutes to hours. I'm sure someone knows the song here, but it's a bit of a sad song, but or like a lonely, wistful song, but it is about like how sometimes when we're going through a struggle, it twists the time into feeling longer than it truly is. Yeah, the devil. Yeah, so you've been wrestling with some tough energies here. And I think maybe that's all the more reason to take care of yourself, because, sometimes we can be under spiritual attack and it's not easy. And it makes it all the more important to make sure we're asking for protection as well, because it becomes so important. Oh, that's weird. There's a really windy storm out there, and I don't know if you can hear it going. It's kind of howling, but there was just this buzzing that started happening just now, and I don't know what was causing it. Actually, it was kind of freaky. Yeah, just be aware there might be some strange energies coming in. And not to make you fearful. Please don't feel fearful about this. But I think you need to be aware that sometimes there is, dark forces out there that can, target us, right? Especially if we hold the light, right? The more we hold light, the more we attract the dark, right? And you're lighting up like a Christmas tree. So it could be, partly that maybe you're becoming much more spiritually attuned, much more high frequency. And that's what this Lovers card is about. It's about choosing yourself, choosing love, choosing that high frequency of abundance and self-care, and choosing yourself, loving yourself. That, it can attract in the dark where it wants to bring that energy back down, right? And I see with these two cards here, we have the Four of Dice, which is the Four of Swords, and the Page of Dice, which is the Page of Swords. And I don't know if you know the show, but in the show, when Will becomes lost in the Upside Down, you know, which is like this dark dimension, right, where it's all negative energies, he uses, this isn't the fort that he uses, but he uses a shelter like this to get himself to rest, to be safe. And that's how he survives, because he's stuck there for a long time, and there's no food, there's no water, there's no spiritual energy. But he's able to keep himself safe inside a little tent structure and keep himself safe from, you know, demonic energies, really. And maybe that's kind of what you're doing now. You're sort of learning how to protect yourself, how to care for yourself in these situations, because it can feel really scary to deal with this, really hard to deal with this. It feels like, you know, we're all on our own, but, you know, I don't think we are on our own. You know, the shelter was placed here for a reason. And the Four of Dice, or the Four of Swords, is all about taking rest and respite when we're in need of it, right? And, you know, I took a couple days to rest when I wasn't feeling so great. So I feel like there's you know, I was meant to tell you that it's okay if you're having a hard time. You know, because for me especially, it was mental health issues. Like, you know, if there's no reason that you have to feel bad about that, if you need to take time for yourself to rest and to take care of yourself before you can come back. Because I didn't want to do readings and energy work when I was in that state, because, you know, I probably would have given a bad reading, or I would have just, my heart wouldn't have been in it, and I would have felt even resentful about doing it, because I just wasn't feeling it. And I want my energy to be high when I'm doing this. I want myself to be tuned in when I'm doing this work. It's important. And that applies to your life as well. You know, you have to bring your all to what you do. And if you don't feel 100%, that's okay to step back and take the rest that you need. You don't always have to give 100% every day. That's impossible. It's impossible to be on all the time. And you don't have to be. No one's at your back whipping, you know, to make you move faster or work harder. And but sometimes we do have that mentally, right? Like, we have thoughts in our head that tell us that, you know, oftentimes we're the hardest on ourselves when that's happening. We feel like we're not giving enough, we're not doing enough, we could be pushing harder, trying harder. We often become, you know, our own, like, slave drivers. We just make ourselves work too hard. A lot of us work too hard. It's just, you know, kind of our society programs us to think like that, right? Or our parents, or our cultures. Like, we can just grow up in that kind of world that doesn't accept when people need, you know, time to breathe, time to think, time to rest, right? So we have to be that person for ourselves. We have to be that person that is our own advocate, that takes that, you know, that initiative to say, hey, I'm actually not doing so well. I need to take a break here, or I need to do something to make myself feel better. Remember, having a happy energy, being in that state of fun and abundance and love, is what gives us the highest vibration. And if we're pushing ourselves too hard, or we're trying to ignore our pain and say everything's okay when it's not, that's when we run into issues. That's when we run into problems. We get mental health issues. We get physical health issues. You know, and sometimes those things can, you know, really mess up our life. So it's important that we remember what's really, truly important, which is our happiness. Like, why are we even here? You know? Why are we even here if not to be happy, to be abundant, to be in a loving vibration, a state of peace and happiness, right? That's what's important. So, and I brought in the crystal angelite today, which I think is perfect, because I think maybe you need some angelic protection, some angelic love, right now. And, you know, you can always call on Archangel Michael to help you, to protect you. And honestly, if you feel this kind of energy in your life, I very much encourage you to ask for Archangel Michael's protection every day, every morning and every night if you can. And to say, you know, I cut any and all energetic cords, known or unknown, seen or unseen, with anyone or anything that is not serving my highest and greatest good. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Always thank the angels too. That's very important. Because, you know, they don't, you know, they're not expecting it, but, you know, they're helping us a lot and they don't get any thanks sometimes. So it's good to thank them. Yeah, because sometimes this is to do with energetic cords, right? Tied to things, people's, places, things, ideas that are pulling on our energy, keeping us low, keeping us sad, keeping us in that state of, that depressive state, you know, depressing our energy. We have to fight back against it. And sometimes we need help, and that's okay to ask for it, right? Honestly, I brought in 2 guardians. I think maybe it's for the extra protection. We've got the dolphin here. We've got the bird. So, you know, extra backup. Okay, what are we going to do next? I think we're going to take a zodiac card here. So always remember that you've got backup. But you have to ask for it, right? Because they can't interfere with our lives without permission, right? Even if it's for our own good. So make sure you give the permission. And be very clear who you're speaking to. You know, because we don't want just any old spirit talking to us or interacting with us, right? Interesting. Okay, I've got 2 cards here. Eclipse in Capricorn, new direction, reevaluate success. Okay, yeah. It's funny, the stars in this make me think of her glowing lights. They kind of look similar. So maybe you have to just yeah, reevaluate what success is to you. Is success, you know, accomplishments, or is it having your life lived in a way that is loving towards yourself, right? So we got that with the Lovers here, right? Understanding that living a happy and loving life is what real success is. Rise to challenges as a new path opens. Eclipse and Gemini. We got 2 eclipse cards here, and they're both about direction changes. The Capricorn is looking behind him, or sorry, the goat, which represents Capricorn, is looking behind him and maybe considering going a different path up the mountain. And then we have this family here going at a fork in the road. Both eclipses, both major turning points. Wow. Yeah, so this is a turning point for you, a big turning point. I think it's, you know, about deciding how you want to approach your life at this point. You know, how do you want to approach your path that you're on? Do you want it to be a path that, you know, is a struggle for you, that's hard on you, that pushes you to your limits? Or do you want to go on a path that maybe it meanders a little, maybe it doesn't bring you necessarily all the acclaim that you think you want, but it lets you live a happier life, a more easy, peaceful life, a life that is more loving towards yourself, right? You can hear the train in the distance. I'll take that as confirmation. I'm going to take a crystal as well here. Get some crystal guidance as well. See what we need to... Is this one? Okay. Just seemed a little quick. Oh my gosh, Moldavite. That's a big That's an intense crystal. If you know, you know. Moldavite's got, taken from meteorites, actually, so it's got kind of an eclipse energy to it, actually, if you think about it, because Moldavite is about big changes. It brings in, you know, intense changes, and it's under the devil here, so maybe this devil energy coming into your life is forcing you to change how you do things. And often that's how it is. It's like the tower, right? You know, sometimes it feels like it's something bad happening to us, but it's something necessary happening to us to change our direction, to change our path, to help us move forward, to help us along our path to something different that we need. And I've also got carnelian here. It kind of fell out of the pile when I was putting the cards away, so I took it with me. So I'm going to take the carnelian as well. And the carnelian's all about confidence, right? Or it tries to offer us confidence. So I think maybe there's, you know, you're lacking there's some hesitation with you right now because you're maybe feeling this energy, and it's putting doubt into your mind that, you know, because it's upsetting you, it's disrupting you, making you think things like, maybe I can't handle this, maybe I can't actually do what I've set out to do. So you're in a state of doubt, you're in a state of fear about this. But actually, you know, sometimes we feel the worst when we're right at a breakthrough, when we're right at a moment where things are about to all change for us. So don't let it discourage you. Don't let it make you think that you're not going to succeed, because you are. You just need that last push out the door. You just need some encouragement, I think, to give yourself some encouragement, and to, again, maybe just take a little breather, you know, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed. Actually, I think you're feeling a lot overwhelmed, but I think you have reason to be that way. You know, I think there is a little bit of sabotage going on here. But you're going to rise to the challenge. And that's what's going to open this path for you. Yeah, because Moldavite also, one of the phrases associated with it is rebirth through fire. You know, like trial by fire, right? It's an initiation, it's a revitalization and a renewal. So sometimes, you know, it's like the phoenix, right? It has to burn into ash before it gets reborn as a new phoenix, right? I even got that with the carnelian. It's got that red energy to it. So yeah, don't forget that sometimes there's going to be hard moments that feel like you're moving backwards, feels like you're not doing it right, but actually you are. This is just the moment where it all comes together, where things fall apart in order to be reborn, in order to be rebuilt into something better, something more foundational. Yeah. And carnelian, you know, it wants you to be confident. It wants you to be self-assured. And I think maybe this rebirth will give you that self-assurance, because it's, you know, it's getting through challenges that gives us confidence, right? Because when we get through it, we're like, hey, I actually can do it. I can get through this because look what I did. I survived that. So that's all you need to do, is to give yourself patience and give yourself time to get through this challenge. And you'll see that you can do it. See that you have everything that it takes, right? Okay, I'm going to get an archangel. So I think some guidance from archangels is always helpful. Yeah. It's good to have the angelic guidance. Yeah. Angel therapy. Archangel Raphael, give your cares and worries to us angels and allow us to take your burdens. Yes. And this little sphere he carries feels like a shield. You know, sometimes it helps to imagine you're being protected by an angelic shield. You know, it can help you feel like there's a force protecting you as much as there might be something attacking you. And that can, you know, negate those energies, right? And asking for the angels to hug you or be with you can be really, really helpful. Oh, that came right out. Moon cycles. Notice how the moon affects your energy and manifestations and capitalize upon these cycles. This is so true. And I like how she's got like three doves with her. And I think of doves as like representations of angels sometimes. And we've got 3 little figures here, right? Usually I always bring 2, but it's 3 today and 3 here. So I think that's interesting. Maybe you're seeing a lot of 3s too. But this is Archangel Haniel, who's with you. Letting you know about moon cycles. I think moon cycles can be really helpful to watch, especially if you're a lady. I try to keep track of it for myself because, you know, sometimes it's, you know, our moods can be related to that in a big way, and also our energy. Like, you know, sometimes certain periods of the moon I'm way more energetic and I can use that energy better. And knowing when you're going to be low energy can also help. You know, this relates to menstrual cycles as well. If this is something that affects you, you know, maybe keeping a calendar would be helpful. Keeping track of that, because, you know, there's definitely moments in my cycle where it's just, sorry that you're a man and this doesn't apply to you, but this is for ladies. Keeping a calendar for that can be really helpful. I even use a color-coded calendar so that I know what days I'm really good and what days I'm not so great. And I can plan to do a lot of things on those good days, and I can plan to self-care on the not so good days. And like that can make a huge difference. So maybe that's something you should consider. But this can also relate to, you know, sometimes it's like there's some things about the moon phases that are good for starting certain things or maybe doing other things, right? So new moons are good for starting something new. Every new moon we're starting a new cycle with something. It could be emotional, it could be mental, it could be a project, it could be something creative, it could be anything. Right? It's all about where our energy is going. So, and when the moon is full is when that energy is at its peak. And when it wanes, that energy is sort of leaving, right? And when it's growing, it's waxing, the energy is gaining momentum. So maybe keep an eye on that, and keep an eye on that with your cycle if that's, you know, something that you have. And then, yeah, maybe just be mindful of that, because that could help you a lot if you just work with yourself, not against yourself, right? Yeah, don't take it as a weakness. Take it as something that you're learning, something that can help you a lot if you capitalize on it, right? Yeah, because when I'm in the peak of my cycle, I can do anything. So, you know, it can be really helpful. Yeah. I think I'm going to end this reading with the Land Sky Oracle card. That'll probably be the end of it. I'm glad this reading is going well. I was a little worried that I wasn't quite back up to snuff, but I think it's all right. Just needed a little rest to get back to normal. There it is. Mala, remember. Okay, I'm gonna get one more card before I analyze this. So they're saying one more card. It must relate to this. That was it. Okay. Bellows breath. Bhastrika Pranayama. Okay. Oh, it's interesting because this is a crane, and I was It's like it's literally telling me to remember this story to tell you, which is funny. But I was having a moment where I was feeling a bit sad and a bit lost, and I was on a walk, and I decided to communicate with my guides and ask them to send me some symbols to help me know that I was being protected. And one of them was a heron. So I asked if they could send me a heron to let me know that I was protected, so I could feel a little bit safer, a little, honestly just loved. And I was waiting for a little bit, and then I turned around, thought, well, I'm just gonna walk back, and then I saw the heron. It came flying by, and they're pretty distinct. They're really big birds. They have this big wingspan, right? This might be a crane, but it's it's a very similar bird. I don't think there's a heron in this deck, so this is probably the closest they could get to. But it was a good practice to do. And like, your guides can't always communicate to you very obviously, but if you create sort of a system to communicate, you can have messages delivered to you like that. So, if you communicate out loud to them and say things like, show me this, if I, just show me that I am protected, or that I'm loved, or that I can, I am on my right path. And it could be anything. It could be an object, could be an animal, could be a phrase, it could be a number or a number sequence. It could be just, it could be a symbol, or it could be a sound, and another one I've used before, it wasn't one I asked for necessarily, but one that I always take as a sign, a good sign, is a bell. And it was so funny. I was having a moment where I was feeling very sad, and I was just leaning on a fence, and out of nowhere I just heard this bell sound. And it was a dog that was coming up the trail, and he literally had a bell, like an actual bell for like on his collar, and it wasn't like a typical like dog collar bell. It was just like a literal bell, like a church bell, like a mini one. And it was so odd. It was a little white dog. And it just, I don't know, it was just a really interesting moment where I think my guides were just trying to, show me that they're there, that it's okay. And I think they're just saying, remember that. Remember that they're there. Remember that you can communicate with your guides at any moment, any time. They're always there with you. And if you just create ways, establish ways that you can communicate with each other, then you can have that communication and reassurance from them, especially in moments where you're feeling, low, and you're feeling doubt, and you're feeling afraid, anything like that. When you need it, they'll be there. You just have to remember to ask, and, to communicate what you feel, what you need. So just do that. Try to establish that, and it can be things that mean something to you. Maybe, an animal, whatever, like. And they'll find funny ways to bring it to you, because it could be the literal animal, or it could be like a picture of the animal, right? It'll turn up in funny places. So just, believe it. Believe that it can happen for you. Yeah. I think they want to let you know that they're there for you. To let you know you can ask for help. Okay. I think that's the end of the reading. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you liked the reading. If you like these videos, you can subscribe and leave a comment if you feel inclined to share how this resonated. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.